G'day, Max Verstappen says F1 is like Formula E on steroids. So I've come to Jeddah to find out what Formula E is all about. At pre-season testing, a frustrated Max Verstappen said, "This isn't F1, it's Formula E on steroids." That was a reference to the amount of energy management required in Formula E, which is now being transferred to Formula 1. So I spoke to a handful of Formula E people about that.
Well, I haven't driven the car yet, so I can't really judge, but obviously it was entertaining to read, I guess.
Don't know exactly how different it is to us, but I think it's going to be quite the task for the drivers.
I think they're saying something like that for the moment, but they will evolve quite a lot.
Racing, growing up, is about who's the fastest guy on track, but motorsports generally is going a little bit away from that, and hopefully we come back to that at some point.
I've done some stuff with Max in the past. I think he's pretty direct and straightforward about what he loves about racing, and he's a kind of full send guy, and let's see whether he grows into it. But this feels a bit more compromised than he would like, and that doesn't surprise me, because in reality it is a compromise, right? It's two different power units. There's an electric power unit and it's a combustion unit, and that means it's a different style of racing.
Jeff publicly invited Max to come to Jeddah if he wanted to test drive a Formula E car. He was also contacted by a number of other F1 drivers.
I've got a few of the F1 drivers who have contacted me about it and asked where they could have a go. I'd love to get Max in the car, if only to get his private feedback. Thrash the car around for a few hours and let me know what you think. 10 of the drivers in this grid are currently with F1 teams helping them in the sim testing for the new regs. They all know each other. A lot of them live in Monaco together. What's nice for me is the drivers here that have been in the Gen 4 car, in the dev car, are all saying this is something completely different, and they talk about it. And the reason I get the calls from those drivers or their agents is because they're all talking about it, and they all love cars. They just want to drive cars and experience new cars and fast cars. So, it's more of a where can we have a go?
Nice to see you.
Good to see you. It's nice to see a familiar face.
Yeah.
Straight up, the thing that floors me is that the air blower they're using on the car makes more noise than the car. It was funny when I was leaving to come here today, I thought, better take my earplugs. I don't need them. That's the beauty of this racing.
Lola has two drivers, so Zane Maloney and Lucas de Grassi. We came into the Gen 3 period halfway through, so we were behind everybody else. So we've had a lot of catching up to do, but the team's working really, really hard and we're continuing to improve. I think it's very close wheel-to-wheel racing. It's very exciting technology. The drivers have to do a lot when they're in the cars, so it's very interesting strategy-wise.
Might have picked the right day to come and watch Zane Maloney. Just scored 5th in qualifying, which means because of the way this works out, he'll start 9th or 10th. But that is an impressive effort for the team.
Thanks for my lovely engineers to keep them safe. Whoa!
We have what we talk the attack mode. So we have to go somewhere specific on the track to activate this mode. Normally you are two-wheel drive 300 kilowatt, and suddenly you become four-wheel drive and 350 kilowatt. And that means there's a lot of strategy during the race, because we are playing with this. To make it even more complex, we add the pit boost, so that means we are adding energy. So very interesting category where you have to be quick, when you have to be able to manage a car with different power level and different traction mode. It's 45 minutes race, and you cannot be bored during 45 minutes. For me, you cannot compare the two. It's two different worlds. F1 is more about pure performance. They introduce a little bit of level of energy management. We are more the energy management and the strategic option and so on.
In our qualifying, we're flat out, but in our race, we're obviously lifting and coasting a lot like many other series, like WEC, etc. So I think there's some extreme, perhaps, things they're going to have to do at certain tracks, and it's not quite what they used to.
Up has always been drive as fast as you can. Of course, you have some tire saving to do and stuff, whereas now bringing in a lot of electric stuff makes it a bit less about who's the fastest, and experience is now meaning even more.
Normally when I'm in this paddock, I've got 2 cameras over my shoulder and I'm shooting F1 drivers and glamour people in the paddock, but today I'm just taking it all in. It's a much calmer atmosphere, fewer people in here. During Formula 1, all of these spaces behind me are hospitality suites for the teams, but not in FE. And the team garages from this side are dramatically different. There's so much money saved here in Formula E. In F1 though, you've got huge dollars of sponsors' money, and that goes towards some pretty elaborate setups.
With Gen 4 coming up, we're finding we're actually getting a lot more people coming in. With F1 getting more expensive, people are coming to Formula E thinking
maybe we can get the same, but in a different environment. So yeah, it's going well. It's getting easier.
One thing I'm quite envious about is that the media centre for Formula E is right above pit lane. For F1, it's a 300-metre walk to one of the small islands in the middle of the track, and that can lose you quite a bit of shooting time per day. I've decided to come up for a drink and a bite to eat here in Emotion Club. This is the hospitality offering of Formula E. It's on the second level above the garages, and unlike Formula 1, which normally sections this off into an Amex suite, Alpine, Mercedes for the hospitality of their guests, this is completely open. A number of food stations, a number of drink stations, and you walk out of these doors and you can see onto the track. Now I just came across Arvid Lindblad, who is here today, a day after testing, and certainly enjoying reasonable anonymity. I've just enjoyed a signing session with all of the drivers down pit lane. It reminds me of IndyCar, where you can access the drivers, because there is not that level of popularity that these drivers endure, compared with Formula 1, where they are super megastars. And I understand that you can't have Lando Norris standing down here signing autographs for half an hour. He would be besieged. Even more so for Lewis Hamilton. I was delighted to see so many names on the roster of drivers that I've seen and photographed at Formula 1, like Nick de Vries drove half a season for AlphaTauri.
It's underappreciated in terms of the technical complexity and technical development that all teams go through, especially when it comes to software. It's very advanced, and all teams are on a very high level.
Felipe Drugovich, ex-Aston Martin reserve driver.
I couldn't stay on the sidelines again for another year there, and it is what it is. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's just what I needed just to go back racing.
Pepe Marti, an F2 driver.
Hello, Pepe. Hey, how are you doing? I've done quite a few endurance races in the sim, so you know about lift and coasting, you know a bit about how it works, and over the first 2 rounds I was a bit lost, but then you get the hang of it.
Ex-F2 driver Dan Ticktum races in Formula E, and I can tell you he is quite out there.
I'd say so, yeah.
I then asked him if he thought there was an absence of truth in motorsport.
I think it's absent in life, certainly in sport, and certainly in motorsport. Yeah, we're all taught to just be, PR machines, can't have opinions. Boring world to live in if everyone's like that.
It's going to be my car tomorrow.
That one?
This is the exact one.
I hope you do well.
I hope so too.
Will they change N. Cassidy to your name?
Well, we did the fit-in in Paris, so we did all the car fit-in for that.
Right.
So it will have my dimensions.
Here comes the main field. Now, would I be able to stand here and talk to you if this was an F1 race and there were F1 cars there? No, you wouldn't hear a word I said. And really, all the noise you're hearing is the tyres on the tarmac. In fact, the PA behind me is louder. Now, the start threw me because I thought they'd do a formation lap. They don't. What they do is they back all the cars up 4 places. So number 1 goes back to 5 and so on. And just prior to the start, they're allowed to accelerate up to their starting position. The lights go out and the field takes off. One thing about this racing is it's close. From first to last, well, actually Nick de Vries is at 50 seconds off, so discount him, but look at that, 9.38 seconds from first to 19th. And they're all in a single file, but there's overtaking into the, especially at this turn 1 here. Of course, the question for Formula 1 fans is, can we expect to see first to last gaps of 10 seconds? Or are we going to be seeing laps? Well, Antonio Felix da Costa wins that race. I actually sat for about 10 laps and watched it from inside the corporate suite with the television commentary on, and that was really eye-opening, because I guess if you're sitting in the stands just watching what's going on, you'll have no idea that certain drivers have power and certain ones don't. Will that be the same in F1? I was impressed with the closeness of the racing and surprised when Dan Ticktum, who was running second, ended up going back to about 7th. very quickly. Now, while F1 has their podiums in pit lane, except for 2 or 3 races, this event here has the podium on the stage behind the main grandstand. It is a heck of a journey to get there, so I've decided to watch it here on the screens in the lounge. And this fella here is Arvid Lindblad's manager. Watching this has highlighted the fact that the audience watching F1 needs to be educated on what these different settings mean, how the engines work, because it is not, as I mentioned in a previous video, simply race as fast as you can to the finish line. You can't do that. You will run out of power. As a spectacle, though, I thought Formula E was great. Colourful. The noise takes you a bit to get used to. But as a competition described as Formula One without the steroids, yeah, I thought it was well worth a visit. And if you happen to be in a city with a Formula E race on the cards, go and have a look. Now, guys, before I go, for those of you unsubscribed, please remedy that situation. And at least, if you'd like the video, hit the like button. And for a whole lot of extra content, nip over here and have a look at all this stuff. Thanks for watching, and
Stay passionate.
What do you know about this, the Formula E?
yeah.
Well, I did 2 days in a simulation. I'm a Citroën racing driver.